First, you might imagine the Australian Defence Force exists, to fight wars. As Rush Limbaugh once said, the military exists to kill people and to break things. But those at the top of the Australian Defence Forces, well, they have different ideas. They seem to regard our military as a sort of camouflage Petri dish in which to indulge their woke fantasies. They've currently advertised a $130,000 position for a, quote, gender diversity and inclusion officer. Now, the task of this person in our military is to make science and technology research within the ADF more gender diverse. Now, back in November 2022, there was research done to show that if Australia went to war today, we would run out of ammunition within 1 week. And the ADF's response to that seems to be, well, we need more women. There was a report last year that said of our 6 submarines, only 1 of them is actually operational. And so the ADF reply with, let's get some non-binary sailors as well. That's craziness, as was pointed out by Shadow Defence Minister Andrew Hastie. He said the no-fail mission of the Defence Force is to fight and win Australia's wars. Everything must support this vital mission. Our military, he said, is not a test tube for social engineers or the plaything of political activists. And he's absolutely right. For a start, we live in perilous times. Everybody agrees this is one of the most dangerous environments we've ever faced in terms of geopolitics. And our Defence Force is engaging in woke nonsense like this. On top of that, everyone knows the budget is tight. At present, Australia spends less than 2% of GDP on defence. That's not enough in the best of times, let alone when, as I said, when times are perilous. So to be wasting the little money we have for defence on a gender diversity officer seems to be quite reckless. Third, we all know that there's massive problems recruiting soldiers to the ADF, and maybe one of the reasons for that is what young men want to go and fight for a country that seems more concerned with recruiting women and non-binary officers than even having enough ammunition to actually fight a war. And finally, it's a bit of a worry when the people at the top of our military seem to be, if not on board with this, at least shrugging their shoulders at it and allowing it to go ahead. And if you think that there's not a problem, consider last July, the Australian Defence Force put out a press release boasting, and I quote, doubling down on diversity. While America is running from diversity, the ADF are doubling down. Caleb and Liz, they actually listed 6 diversity areas that they are focused on. This is July last year. I'll name them for you, though you'll be able to guess what they are. Women, First Nations, LGBTQIA+, linguistically diverse, I thought was interesting, because you can't have too many soldiers for whom English is a second language. Ready, aim, and the other 2 groups were disabled people and autistic people, whom, of course, they described as neurodiverse. This is the focus of our top military brass at a time when everyone says war could be imminent in our region.
I thought you were going for linguistically diverse there when you started stuttering between giving us the last 2 options there. I actually want a diverse military. I'm going to say it. I want a diverse military. I want a diversity of weapons. I want a diversity of tanks. I want a diversity of killers. That's what I want. I want them to be able to do the job. I don't care whether they're fat, short, tall, whatever. I just want them to actually be really good at the job. And that's the silliest thing here, right? We're talking about a gender diversity officer who is trying to make the research team in science and technology more gender diverse. What does it matter? I mean, we're not even talking about soldiers here. We're talking about people who are doing research. It's the military, right? I want the best minds in the country working in that room. Again, I don't care if they're gay or they're straight or they're black or they're brown or they're brindle. I want the best people in the country in that room working on technology and science that will defend my country. I'll pay obscene amounts of money to get the best people from anywhere. It shouldn't even enter the discussion. And what you have is, while the US in particular, which is leading a revolt against all of this stuff across across the world, and particularly through the corporate world, and most of the corporate world exists in America, and that will eventually have flow-on effects to the rest of the world. But while America is having a revolt against this stuff, you have the government and its arms in Australia doubling down and going even harder. And you have to wonder whether they're going even harder almost as a little FU to Trump to say, oh, look at us, we're different. But I'm afraid to tell you, people are sick of it. They're sick of it everywhere. They're sick of it in the US, they're sick of it in the UK, they're sick of it in Australia. And as Peter Lee said last week in The Australian, the ex-army chief, and you alluded to it, the reason people don't sign up to the military anymore is because there's no national pride and they don't feel like this country is worth defending. And then they look at this and they go, oh, maybe I will go and join the military. And then they go, oh, damn, I'm not a woman, I can't make it. I mean, why would you want to sign up?